This is Easy Mo B. I'm a music producer. I produced Miles Davis, Craig Mack, Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, Busta Rhymes, most recently Alicia Keys. A lot of y'all know my Lost Boyz records too, you know. The Jeeps, the Lex Scoops, the Beamers, and the Benz. All those records. My first real job was an after-school job at this health food store called Uhura Food Co-op on Fulton and Franklin in Brooklyn, not too far from where I live at. And that was the first training and discipline and having a job and just being responsible. I made $62.51 a week. And with that, I felt like a man. I bought my own cigarettes, my own weed, my own, of course, my own records. At an early age, I eventually started to DJ. I was real turned on by the local DJs on my block. I was born in the housing project Lafayette Gardens in Brooklyn. And these dudes used to come outside with their sets. They bring the big ass kicker speakers and 2 turntables and the mixer out in the street. And they having the block party, you know. That kind of stuff, it turned me on. You know, I watched them. They were in control of the crowd. They play music and seemed like they made the people, they had control over the people, made them do whatever they wanted to just because they played the music and they played it right. So from the moment I saw those guys, I said, that's what I want to do. I always told my mother, we would be walking past the park. I'm like, mommy, I want some turntables. That's what I want to do. He's like, oh, forget about you. Come on here. Didn't really take me that seriously. But that $62.51 a week, that after school job, that's what got me my first turntable and mixer. And the DJing just eventually evolved into producing. It's true, like if you're a DJ, sometimes it'll happen to you. You play music long enough until you want to make it. It's how I've liked to describe it. My first break came from the artist Big Daddy Kane in '88 going on '89 when he was recording the It's a Big Daddy Thing album. And I did 2 tracks on there. Another Victory and another song called Calling Mr. Welfare featuring DJ Red Alert. So here I am, my first production, one of the first records I'm working on, and then a hero of mine, somebody who I feel like made me do what I was doing, is on the record with me. I'm talking about DJ Red Alert. I have a lot of respect for those people. Those people influenced the whole culture. We're doing what we're doing today because of them. People like Cool DJ Red Alert. To this day, I got to know him real well. My man Grandmaster Cash from the Cold Crush Brothers. Cool Herc. I'm able to say, like, I know these people now. You know, Africa Bambaataa, people like that. Those are my heroes, man. It's the reason why I'm doing this. Just not being to have enough time for your girlfriend. That's one thing. Sometimes you don't eat right. Sometimes you don't sleep right. There's a lot of things you have to give up just in order to always be there to be able to do this. Like this here is playing in the background, Notorious B.I.G., Party and Bullshit. When I started recording with Biggie for Bad Boy, Puffy was like a damn slave driver. He would call you up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Yo, Mo B, yo, we need you over here to mix this record down, man. Or you gotta bring another sample. You gotta fix this. We can't use this sample, take this out. Big need one more joint, come over. This is 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So they need me, so I jump up and I run over there and I do it. It's my job. Well, my goals before music was I went to George Westinghouse High School. It's right at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge. That's where you'll find it in Brooklyn. Um, I went to, I chose George Westinghouse High School because electronic servicing, which is nothing but a big word for, you know, training for electrical repair. That's what I had set that I thought that I wanted to do and that I was going to do. And after I graduated from Westinghouse, I went to New York City Tech for a year right across the street, and I quit because not too long after that, I got the job that I felt like I was going to school for, and that is I got a job with Con Edison, power utility company here in New York. So here I am, I'm feeling like Mr. Big Man, like, you know, forget college, I got the job that I was going after, not knowing that college education never ever hurts. To this day, I wish I would have at least stayed for the associate. But somehow from the Con Edison job, I was led to this and this. So I didn't fare too bad, right? You know, ending up with doing that right there. I always loved music. It was inevitable that I was going to be doing something with music, whether it was, you know, there was a time when I even had plans to enroll at Kingsborough Community College, which is way on the other end of Brooklyn, like Sheepshead Bay, like damn near Coney Island. And I was going to train to be a radio announcer. You know, like the guys who, WLIB, radio announcer. That's what I was going to train to do. That was kind of like a big influence to me too. But the whole thing of being in a building behind a desk tied up, I think I would prefer this to that. And it's probably opportunity for more money in producing too. My average day when I wake up, depending on whatever time that is, because I'm not really on a schedule. Like 2 nights ago, we were on here, we were working on something. I left here 4:30, about 5 in the morning. So, like the old Bobby Womack song says, it's a song called Daylight that he made. So he says, I'm when most people are getting up, I'm just getting in. Yeah, that was the lyric that he said. And sometimes I feel like that. Or sometimes I could just be at home and up working late on something, and it causes you to sleep a little later. And then sometimes you got to jump right back up and come out. But there is no schedule to what I do. I kind of like just do it. I'm there for people when they need me, for artists, for the studio here. My average day when I wake up, take a shower, get something to eat. You know, if I have some meetings to come out here in the daytime, and usually music pop off like in the nighttime. I don't know, something about music in the night, you know. Pull out a couple of old albums, some funk, some soul, whatever. Listen to that, next thing you know, a beat comes into play. Like this right here, I did this beat in my drawers. I'm serious, I was standing up in my house. Of course I was home by myself. I was standing up in my drawers. Just woke up probably about 11 o'clock in the morning. Start fooling around with the drum machine and came up with that. Last time I got stressed was yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Why? Because the business is not always cracked up to be what it always is. There's a lot of fun and love in the music, but sometimes it can be difficult. Maybe in the collection of your money. Maybe most recently the change in the business. The business is a little bit shifted. It's a little bit juxtaposed right now. The music is different than it was 10 years ago. So when music changes, if you had a certain style, then you're not number one anymore. You're not so much as in what can I call it, demand as you used to be. That kind of shifts you and juxtaposes you around. Kids get older, and you get older too. And I'm very serious about my music. I have a lot of integrity about my music, so I won't just do anything. So you can imagine in this day and age right now that that may be the reason why I am not quote unquote number one. It doesn't bother me though. Some of the things that I've done in my music life, in my career, are things that had a profound effect and impact on people who've heard them. And I've met young producers who walked up to me and they told me, "Oh, Easy Mo B, thank you, man. Nice to meet you. Listen, man, you the reason why I'm doing it." Things like that is what make me feel good, because I feel like that about, like I said earlier, a DJ Red Alert or a Cool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, the Cold Crush Brothers, Marley Marl, who is a strong mentor of mine. At one time or another, I wanted to be Marley Marl, you know. So anytime I can have an impact on somebody's life and they can tell me something like that, I feel like then I did my job. I'm doing my job. My last vacation. What is vacation? Vacation is picking up and just going away so you can relax, right? Not always possible. The way people pull you from here and there. I guess you could say the last time I traveled was vacation. Atlanta, Florida, LA, places like that. Every once in a while you get a break. Just being at home and being able to go through my record collection, just some time off to myself, being able to listen to my records and not be interrupted by the phone and people constantly, pulling and tugging at you. That's vacation to me. What inspires me to do my music is, first and foremost, probably my record collection. I have a basement full of records, man. A basement full of records. I'm not vain like that, so I never counted the crates or the actual number of records, but let's just say I got like a whole basement full of records that I've been collecting since somewhere around the age of 8 years old. My father bought me my first record in, like 1975. I think it was Do It Any Way You Want by the People's Choice. So my record collection is probably like one of the things that influences me the most in terms of how I get from point A to point B. In making a track, it's usually from something that I've heard, and then I'm motivated from there to do something based on that. People who want you to be something that you're not being able to be yourself and just be free. Like earlier, like what you said about taking risk. In this day and age right now in the music business, we're not too much in a risk-taking age. Everybody's basically like real trendy and following each other. Something I ain't never really been too good at. I'll admit that. I'll throw myself into the total state of conviction right now to admit that about myself, but never really been too good at that. So I always like to be free-spirited, be able to do what I want to do and how I wanted to do it. To me, hip-hop means something that Beck said in one of his records, 2 turntables and a microphone. That's what it all comes back to, right? That's what it comes back to. The 2 turntables and the microphone. They are elements of hip-hop. The music is one. Like we said, 2 turntables and a microphone. There's DJing. Hip-hop to me these are the elements. DJing, MCing, which would be rapping on the mic. Not so much as a big included feature of hip hop anymore, but breakdancing or dancing, just the whole dance moves that come along with it. And graffiti used to be something that was a strong element of hip hop too. But more recently, nowadays, after the commercial status of hip hop and what it's rose to, it basically comes down to the rapping and the beats. You know, the DJ is less of a, how could I say, a central focal point of hip hop. The DJ is so much less important. The DJ now kind of looks like this. Nah, there's still DJs around, but I don't know. I just think 30, 35 years later, 40 years later, it doesn't seem like it. 30, what about 35, something like that? The culture has changed. It's changed a lot. I have the Motorola Razr. It's the same one that first came out. It's not the updated or whatever. I mean, it's fine to me. It's got a camera phone in it. It's got email possibilities in there, features. Look, if it can make a call, if it'll save my messages, when people call me on the voicemail, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't be on the internet a lot. I don't. Now, I do a lot of text messaging. Now, that's an interesting question that you ask. Out of all of those, which one do I prefer? Emailing, texting, speaking by computer, all that stuff is fine and it's cool and it makes it more efficient for us to communicate with each other and it's faster and all of that. But what has happened over the years is we've created like what I call impersonal relationships between each other because people don't have to stand. In other words, if I'm submitting music for somebody's album, I don't have to get in my car anymore and drive up to the label or to the person. If they got a computer, I could email them the track. I could do the vocals in my house, save it to a disc, and email it to Jadakiss. We say any name at random. I could make a record with Jadakiss and we never see each other, never touch each other. That's cool. But a lot of these records like this,
niggas frontin' like they ill. Now bustin' caps ain't got a motherfucking thing to do with showing skills. Recognize, nigga, what you frontin' for. I know your style, you never hit a bumper for.
Right? I was there for those records. You understand? I watched Cheeks and God Rest His Dead, Freaky Tah. It's Big Nice. I watched them go in the booth, you understand, and do those records and comment went back and forth. Yo, do that over. And it's vice versa. Moby, could you turn such and such down? Or we want the beat a certain way. I think that the interaction between people live in the studio makes you always come up with better records. So long story short, email, text messaging, communication by computer, it's fine and it's cool and everything, but nothing beats a true meeting of the faces, bodies, and minds, live in the flesh. For fun, eat, hang out with my girlfriend. Like I said, I don't get that much chances from people pulling me here and there, but again, fun to me is just being able to listen to my records. I got records that I bought 6 or 7 years ago. Trust me, I got that much records that I haven't even listened to yet. I'm a constant, avid collector. I've been collecting records since 8 years old, and by now it's an addiction. So my greatest strength, honestly, is in God. I feel like, There's a lot of people who probably don't believe in God, and I do. I feel like He's brought me thus far, and regardless of the amount of time that has passed, my age, which I'm not going to tell you, I still, after all these years and after many, many days, I feel really, really blessed. You know, I do. I feel blessed. I still get requests. I still get called on. I have my life, my health, my breath, and my strength. Like my mother has been known to say, He woke me up this morning. You know, I'm here for another day, an opportunity. And for that alone, I thank God for that. I'm blessed. Women. What was that? There was a Eric B. and Rakim remix of Paid in Full, and they said, Mars needs women. We could sample the women and just keep hitting that. Women. Women. I think that's like kind of like a weak spot for all men. The thing that I'm most proud of would be Miles Davis. Here's a man who he influenced so many different he influenced so many different stages in his career as far as the things that he was trying out earlier, like we said, risk takers. He's done funk, he's done straight up traditional jazz, which we would call bebop. He's done contemporary, he's done operatic jazz, some of everything. And then way at the end of his career, towards the end of which we didn't know would be the end of his life, he comes out and he decides that he wants to mess around with hip hop and ends up working with me. So it kind of was like most appropriate. I hate to say that, but it just seems like that around the time that he died, because after all that he's done with hip hop included, kind of like with Miles, what was left to do? What was else left to do? So he did everything. And at the closing time, right at closing time, he allowed me to be a part of that. That right there, I will always, always treasure that and hold that to the highest as like the greatest thing that I've ever done. You gotta have a little bit of that. You gotta have a little bit of that. What was that old movie? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You're gonna have that, and you gotta have that. That's life. Everything is not always a bed of roses, just like it doesn't stay sunny for too long before it will rain, and then the sun will shine again. Um, some hate influences me and pushes me into a better place. Like when people hate you, sometimes it just makes you work a little harder. So in a sense, like it's necessary. What God allows here on this earth is all for a reason. It'll make you a better person. The current state of hip hop, um, it's okay. I don't really see too many people out there pushing the envelope, but hip hop is still happening, it's still around. There are a lot of people that are doing things. You might not hear about them. They're really, really still making a difference as far as genuine hip hop is concerned. You might not get to see or hear about these people or these things because somehow they just don't make their way into the media and in the press. But many people still really love hip hop out there and are still DJing. Like I was saying, they are still DJing. They are still true MCing. There are people who are still intrigued by breakdancing and dancing as an art form, and graffiti, which has risen to a level where it's in art galleries by now. And everything is just not about booty shaking in the video, and hot cars. And there's a lot of us out here that still really, really love the music, and I'm one of them. The worst thing about hip hop is, to me, the fact that we have freedom of speech, By law, we have that anyway, and we have the right to be, say, do, or whatever we want to, but somehow we don't always agree with each other. So it keeps battles, going on, and a lot of people unhappy, you know. Just like there's a lower to a middle to a upper class, you're always gonna have, the people in the basement that have a problem with the people upstairs. Um, and the second worst thing to me in hip hop is when my man Biggie and Tupac, I knew them both. Matter of fact, we recorded Running from the Police. That's right. Right in this room. We're in Unique Studios. They shut the studio down, but they rented it back out to people who wanted to keep the rooms going. I'm in a room that I recorded many records in before. The Running record included. Yes, Easy Mo B, Biggie, Tupac, Pac's crew, Biggie's crew, my crew were all in here. That was a better time for Biggie and Tupac. They were friends. I was there. I was a personal witness to that. But now that he's gone, and now that Pac is gone, I don't know. It just seems like it's a cloud that just hovers over hip hop. And I don't know. It just ever since they died, man, it just don't feel the same to me. So that to me is like the second worst thing in hip hop, as far as I'm concerned, that's ever happened. You have no idea the effect and the impact that one event, or rather those two events, had on people's lives. Number one, money, because we need money to survive. Don't be no fool. That's the truth. People can say, I do this for the love, and yeah, we do what we do for the love too, but at the same time, your rent or your mortgage or your bills, all the things that you like that have a monthly bill attached to them, they got to be paid. So we need money to survive, but we're constantly weighing the scales back and forth, trying to make sure that we keep our respect. So respect is important to me, but by the same token, I need money to survive. It's inevitable. We have to. I still use the SP1200, which is an ancient machine. It's one of the most popular first real sampling drum machines. That I still use the old Akai rack mount samplers like the 900, 950, 3000, stuff like that. I had an MPC 3000, but I gave it to LG, to my brother. He got it. He's holding it. It's at his crib. But the SP1200 and a lot of the old Akai rack mount samplers, those is my weapons of choice. But when I'm making a beat, it depends. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I've started with the drums before. I've started with a loop before. I've started with just one hit, and you never know what's going to get you started on working the beat. All you know is that as time goes along, the whole beat just comes together, and before you know it, you got a track. I've made beats in 10 minutes before, and then I've taken 10 days to complete a beat also too. Like I'll start, just lay the drums, the bass, and let's say like I'll have some samples chopped up and spliced, or some keyboard work or something laid to it as a basis. Just leave that, save it, cut the machine off, go to sleep. I get busy. I might come back to it later that night, tomorrow, the next day, 3, 4, 5 days later, whatever. There is no limit. There is no special timing. There is no special process to making the music. Most of everything that you feel comes from inside here, and then Only thing you know is that you just start working. That's it. That's the only thing I can tell you. There's something that I'm dealing with called Platinum Ice Records. Now, Platinum Ice Records is me and people may remember the group Rapping is Fundamental that I used to be in. A brother named AB. Me and him are partners in Platinum Ice. And we have an artist called Miss Quick. She's female R&B. Then you have J Dot. He's the rapper. We was in here working with him the other night. We're doing that and seeking out distribution for it. We're at a point in a time right now in my career where, well, not just in my career, but major labels, I think people are realizing now, like, they don't want to sit around and wait and depend on the machine to do everything for them. People are taking things more into their own hands. You're seeing a lot of young people in hip-hop selling records out of their trunk, getting a distribution deal, catering to mom and pop stores, selling mixtapes. So you could say I'm going the independent route. There's better of a chance when I'm doing something like that. I get the freedom to continue to be me and what I want to do.